Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. BoomStick XL. And again, folks, apologies for the 2-minute delay. C Money and I were just doing mustard and olive shots, and we lost track of time. No, of course, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
It's great to be back here today, and of course, open up with the olives and mustard joke. And of course, my co-host with the most. He's taken off a couple of weeks to, obviously spend some time with the family. Super important. C Money, welcome back, dude.
We're back, baby. We are back. Thank you for having me, man. Great fucking time. I'm very, very excited.
Yes.
To be back in the building, man. It feels like it's been a million years. So definitely excited. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And we're just living in such a great time for gaming right now for us.
Indeed.
That it just makes some of this crying even funnier. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, what are we even talking about anymore?
Dude, it's
we'll
yeah, you know what? It's a very interesting time that we are currently living in, especially if you are a gamer. One of the things one of the big stories that we're not covering today on this podcast, and I'm sure that you're gonna have a talk about it with the Mrs. Hargeet, maybe even a show tonight, is the melting PlayStation 5 situation that was quietly reported and then quietly silenced by games media. It's a problem that was reported. It was a problem reported a couple of, I want to say, last year, and now it's starting to it's wreak its ugly head again. Again, not a topic we're going to cover today. We have three. Yeah, the liquid metal is melting inside your PlayStation 5s, cutting the lifespan of the console. And what's worse is that. Yeah, I'll send you the article. You can check about it. You maybe talk about it tonight. But yeah, it's unfortunately the liquid cooling metal is causing problems to current PlayStation 5s, and it's not only shortening the lifespan of the console. When this happens, the console's out of warranty, so you have to buy a new one. It's just it's gross. It's just gross. But again, I'll send you the link so you can take a look and read the story. But folks, the stories that we're going to cover today, one of which has been a very hot topic, especially in some of the DMs that I'm in, and that's regarding the Hellblade 2 update. Now, the Hellblade 2 update is going to be adding a 60 FPS mode to Xbox Series X, not Series S. Series S is going to be left at 30. The 60 mode is going to come to the Series X. That is going to be available for Steam, but it's also going to be launching for the PlayStation 5 in August. Both the Pro and the regular PS5 are getting the 60 frames from inception. This is one of those topics that I see having two really good sides to. I don't think anybody's wrong for feeling one way or the other. We'll get into that because me and C Money were talking in the green room, and he had a phenomenal point of view as to why the 30 frames would, again, I had a conversation again privately with a few people in our DMs that I'm in. I'm going to be honest with you. I had no problem with the 30. I thought it was a incredible cinematic experience. Would I have liked maybe 40? A 30, 40, 60 like you had in Avowed? That would have been pretty dope if you would have got like a middle best of both worlds kind of a thing. But I beat Hellblade 2 twice. Played it at 30, and because it's going to 60, I'm probably going to play through it again. It is something that is just an incredible experience. I've already gotten all the achievements, so I'd be playing it simply just to experience the 60 frames, see what that's about. But again, that is an incredible experience, and we'll see how well it's received on PlayStation. Because again, folks, we talked about this many, many times before. There were certain content creators and journalists that admittedly were crying on stream. Now, whether that was for money or an act, I don't know. What? With Hellblade 1, yeah, they were literally crying because of how how the story was told about Senua, like tears, right?
I thought you were saying they were crying about this.
Oh no!
I was like, Jesus.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was, again, some of the same streamers / games media reviewers said that that Hellblade 2 was disappointing and it didn't deliver. And yet it only just did everything that one didn't do. So again, their anger wasn't because the game didn't deliver. Their anger was that they didn't have it on their favorite console of choice, which was the PlayStation 5. And that's ultimately what wound up happening. But that is not the only story we're going to cover. And again, shout out to everybody in the chat. I know somebody here said that they're not a big Call of Duty fan. That's back end. We have, again, 3 topics today. We're going to get into Black Ops 7. It's a topic that I can't wait to get into because I'm a big fan. Obviously, you see that I consistently play the game. I consistently record content of it because it is really good to have, playing in the background. Maybe you're not into Call of Duty. I hear you. But I certainly am, and I'm very excited for 7. I did pull a Games Radar article that breaks down a lot of information that it has not really been out there in the socials. I want to break down where this falls in the timeline, what to expect, and the middle of the topic is going to be out the Outer Worlds 2, folks, because one of the things, C-Money, that I think is being done at Xbox Game Studios, and it's being done to great degree, is that each team is reaching out to other teams for help. And what we learned, thanks to a story that comes the way of GameSpot.com, and again, I'll read the author's information, of course, because we've got to give credit where credit is due. The Outer Worlds team actually reached out to the Halo Studios for help, and I got some pretty interesting quotes, and it's pretty interesting how some of the things done in Halo, specifically Halo Infinite, are going to find their ways into the Outer Worlds 2. Very cool stuff. But C-Money, let's open up with the Hellblade 2 controversy. Now, this story was pulled by PureXbox.com. It was written by Fraser Gilbert. I've used his work before. I like the way this dude writes. And the lead title of his article says, Hellblade 2 to receive free 60 FPS Xbox upgrade alongside the PlayStation 5 release this August. Now, he does have an update here where I did already confirm that the 60 FPS mode is exclusive to the Xbox Series X consoles on Xbox. It is not coming to the Series S, unfortunately. But look, let me just again read some of the story from Gilbert's, Fraser's, written article, and it goes on to say that we found original story. We found out a month ago that Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 would be getting an enhanced edition on Xbox at the same time as for the PlayStation 5 launch of the game, and we know that the release date is August 12th of 2025. The feature list for the Hellblade 2 Enhanced Edition also has been confirmed, which includes a 60 FPS performance mode, presumably on the Xbox Series X, a very high graphical preset on PC, an optional new game mode focused around the Dark Rot, and an enhanced photo mode and developer commentary. So again, folks, if you never played this game, well, August 12th, you're getting the free upgrade. If you already own it on Series X, it's called the Senua Saga's Hellblade 2 Enhanced Edition. Any of our PlayStation friends in the chat, if you've never played this game, if you've been waiting for this to come to PlayStation, August 12th is going to be your day to pick this up. It is, I would say, 100 times better than the original in every way. The combat has been improved. The graphics are probably still some of the best in the business. It just is insane how amazing this game looks. And of course, we're talking about the 30 frames mode way back in the days when it launched. It still looked incredible. I would imagine that the graphical enhanced mode that they're talking about for PC is going to be off the charts, especially if you're running like a 4060 through a 4090. It's going to melt your eyeballs. But, C-Money, the conversation among Xbox players, and again, no specific people because we don't do the names thing. A lot of the conversations I had were with other gamers, other podcasters, and one of the biggest complaints is the fact that the 60 FPS mode comes alongside the launch of the PS5. Now, a lot of people feel slighted by this. A lot of people said, well, I've already played it. I'm not going back. You have a really interesting thought and theory in regards to why the 30 frames mode was okay. And again, I said it, folks. Maybe I'm going to get the virtual tomatoes here. 30 frames has never been a problem with me. Now, is that because I'm not a PC guy? Maybe. But I've always been okay with 30, especially when it comes to single player. Do I prefer 60? Sometimes, but I'm a bit of a graphical whore. So I would much rather have graphical fidelity than a 60 frames mode. But I will say what's converted me a bit is what Obsidian did with Avowed. Avowed gave you a 30, a 40, and a 60. I played the game through 40 and loved every second of it. But let's get into your personal thoughts about the reasoning behind 30 frames and why it's actually okay.
I mean, listen, um, obviously this is not new, right? Like Starfield did the same thing, right? And I think for me, I get a little frustrated with this idea that people are pissed about it. Like our boy Todd, when he was talking about Starfield, he said he likes the game at 30 FPS. They build the game out focusing on 30 FPS so that it's a fantastic experience. And I played and beat that game between my Xbox and my PC, jumping between 60 or whatever on the PC and 30 on the Xbox, and then some streaming. The point is that between the mix of them, it really didn't matter. The experience was always great, right? The experience was always really good. Are we obviously always going to prefer the most frames per second as possible, 60 FPS all the time? Sure, that would be great, right? That would be great. But what we learned with Starfield was that a year later, they updated it without it going to PlayStation 5. Starfield is still not on PlayStation 5. And they
Great
updated that
point.
game to run at 60, right? So these games are designed to work the way they're going to work. And then they were allotted the time afterwards to go ahead and fix it up and finagle the way they had to do it to make it work at 60. And now it does, right? On Starfield. Enter Hellblade. Hellblade made by Ninja Theory, small team, right? Focused on making a high quality game, a triple A, quadruple A experience as far as what they did graphically, right? Still the best looking game that's out there. Just is what it is. Definitely still the best game that's out there. And when you go ahead and you look at what they accomplished, it's phenomenal, right? It was an amazing story, amazing experience. The audio was crazy, visual crazy, right? They nailed that shit. And now a year later, they did exactly what Starfield did and went ahead and worked on it so that they can go ahead and get a 60 FPS mode going. How are we gonna sit here and cry? How? You already experienced the game. The game was phenomenal. 60 FPS wasn't gonna make that game a better game. It's not a Twitch shooter. Nothing was crazy happening. I played it on 60 on the PC. I played it streaming on GeForce Now at 60. I played it 30 FPS on the console. Love my experience. Either way, it was not something that went ahead and became an issue, right? It wasn't a problem at all. So the fact that now we we always go down this same road, and then we always have the people who just want to do it. Like, listen, I'm never going to be, yeah, yo, yeah. This some loser mentality, and that's just what it is, and that's the only way I could phrase it, right? I don't live my life that way, right? You don't go ahead and tear down something after you had an amazing experience with it. If that game never went 60 FPS, nobody would have batted an eye because it was an amazing experience. You ask all these people who were into Hellblade. Now, obviously, there's people who don't like those types of games. That's fine. But if you get rid of those people and you just focus on the people who do love playing that game, you go ahead and people were loving that shit. And now it's a problem? Nah, man, that's crazy. And I can tell you right now, I much rather get in, and this is obviously my opinion, but that's other people can feel what they want to feel. But we don't have time. We have too many games coming out.
We
Okay.
really do,
So
bro. Honestly.
we have too many games coming out. If Starfield needed to come out at 30 on console because that was the way that they could optimize it to get it out as quick as possible, but they optimize it in a way where when you pull that trigger and you're shooting the guns, you don't sit there and say, "Oh my god, this is 30 FPS. This feels like crap." You know that wasn't the experience.
Right.
You know, on Xbox Series X at 30 FPS, I was loving that. I was loving it. So the idea that 30 FPS somehow was an issue is full of it. Okay. If they designed the game that way, then it works great. Look at Forza. Forza Horizon was always a 30 FPS experience first. And then now with the power, they have the 60. But they had the 30 FPS experience and it was always smooth because why? They designed the game around the idea. It wasn't a limit, it was the choice they made, right? They were going to do that because they wanted to push everything around it, right? The graphics. When we saw the Mexico situation and they drove by, that looked so good, right? They're always going to push this stuff. And it's all choices of developers, man. Don't I'm not going to sit here and cry, which I know some of these people that's what they want, and they're going to say that I'm glazing. No, I'm not glazing shit. I played the game and I had a great time. You are the one who want to run around and just create this narrative of disappointment and problems because oh no, now the Xbox is releasing the game on PlayStation. They're putting a 60 FPS mode. Oh, but they're also putting it on Xbox. Who cares? Who cares? They're doing it. If you cared enough, if you were going to go back and play that now, right? It's not for you, bro. It's not for you. It's for the new people. Don't say, oh, I already played it. Now I'm mad. What? You love that game. You loved it. Now you're mad? You rather have waited another year to play the game? Come on, man. Come on.
Well, you know what? Let me bring in some context because the reason why I bring this topic up is because last night, Sin in the chat, who's a good friend of the channel, actually made mention of it. He actually has a quote here. He says, Boom and C, look up the article where NT is quoted, and of course, he's talking about Ninja Theory, is quoted about Hellblade 2 possibly being ruined by adding the 60 FPS mode. Folks just want them to be straight up about things. And Will the Broke Boy Lewis in the chat, or do you K now, the Broke Boy Insider, says the issue that Hellblade 2 is that the devs said that they didn't want to do a 60 FPS mode for the game because they wanted the quote-unquote cinematic experience, and now that it comes to PlayStation 5, it gets a 60 FPS mode. And I think ultimately
you're right. You're right. You know what? Decisions can never change, right? You're right. Opinions, thoughts, they should never change. If you quote me 5 years ago, that's the way I must believe today. You are so full of it, guys. And not in particular you, the people who are sitting there trying to make this a thing, bro.
Well, they
wanted a cinematic experience. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means that on the console right now, as they were developing the game, they're doing exactly what I just said they were doing. They were pushing 30 because they were focusing on the cinematic experience around it. They wanted to push graphics as much as possible and wanted to not sit there and spend development time struggling to figure out how to do 60 FPS at the same time as them pushing the world around the 30 FPS framework that they had. Again, if the game came out and we were all saying, man, this feels really crappy. Like, wow, I can't even, this is crazy. This doesn't even feel right. It doesn't work. Nobody was saying that, man. Come on. Nobody was saying that. You guys are going back and crying about stuff that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's going on the Xbox at 60 FPS as well. And obviously, PC is already going to do that no matter what.
Yeah, Black Sausage in the chat literally said that it was 60 frames at launch on PC.
Oh yeah, but that's not they didn't do shit for that. What do you think? They coded it to go at 60 FPS for PC?
No, if you have the hardware,
it's based off the power, bro.
Yeah.
Like don't be, you know what I'm saying? Like balance it out. All right. Unless you don't understand PC, which is fine, right? PC is PC. You don't sit there and be like, well, I'm gonna make it work at this. But no, they just have to make sure the game's not gonna break if it goes faster. But the power is what it's about, right?
Yeah.
If there's power, then they could do it. Of course, they could have sat there and just been like 60 FPS right off the rip. Sure, no problem. If that was the way they designed the game. But obviously in the beginning, coming out as a new studio, as a smaller studio, trying to push this, the limits of what you can see on screen, which they have accomplished. Like, we haven't seen that shit at 60 on a console. We don't know what trade-offs there are to get to 60 on the console. And just like Todd Howard before that, they wanted an experience that every time somebody took a screenshot, and I feel like this might have been a conversation when this launched too, in the beginning when it was announced that it was going to be 30 versus 60. And I'm pretty sure it's like jogging in my memory now. I'm pretty sure we talked about the idea that if it was 60 at the time, the trade-offs that they would have made would have been the place where everybody was going to take screenshots, and they would have been like, "Oh, look at this, how it doesn't look as good," right? They don't want that, right? They didn't want that. They want to focus on making it the best experience possible. 30 FPS gave us that experience. There was no bullshit. The shit looked amazing. Like, anything else is just people wanting to have an issue with something. And honestly, like, come on, man. Come on. You're getting it as well, right? You're getting it as well. The only alternative to this scenario was that we didn't get Hellblade last year. We got it this year. Is that the way you would have wanted it?
No,
You
I
wanted to
mean,
wait a
but
year and get it at
again,
the same time as PlayStation?
for me personally, again, when it's just a console war conversation, then it's not worth having. I think the folks in the chat that are complaining or have an issue with this, I think it's the transparency. Because again, Ninja Theory, a great developer, folks. And you got to remember, this game. Remember when this game came out? It's still one of the best looking games on Xbox. It's probably one of the best looking games this generation. Now there are others, sure, but this is a team of 40 people. I think 41 or 42 people made this game, as opposed to 18 or 20 that made the original. I really think that the issue with a lot of people, especially some of the biggest Xbox supporters, is being told that, okay, we can only do 30 because this is our vision, this is our
Yep.
this is our artwork, this is how we want it. And then when it releases on PlayStation, they make it 60. Now I don't know if that's because of the PlayStation. I don't think it's because of the PlayStation.
That makes the
I
PlayStation couldn't affect what they did on Xbox
I
that
just
way,
think that
right?
I think really what the people are asking for are a little bit more transparency with Xbox Game Studios, and that I absolutely agree. And what I will say, for this, and again, we're going to move on, folks. It's not a biggest topic of the show. We do have two other monster sized ones, but because Sin actually wanted to talk about it, I thought it was worthy because there is conversation happening in the community, and and like I said, for me personally, even some private DMs. And the running narrative isn't that they couldn't do 60. It's they said that they didn't want to do 60 because they wanted it to have a cinematic feel. And now that it's coming out on PlayStation, it's to me, it's just a bad look because you said that you wanted 30 and now it's coming out at 60. And a
I
lot of
think
people,
I think if you're
yeah,
somebody who has gotten, if on Twitter somebody took a post you made a year ago and you thought one way, right? Like with the games going on PlayStation, boom, right? You have now since accepted that that's the way it is. You don't like it, but you accepted the way it is, right? But if all your DMs were about or tweets were about people telling you that, well, you didn't like it and you don't want it and you can accept it now, that's one thing. This is not some weird shit. If you listen to the language that is spoken, there is no problem with what they said. At the time they were making the game, they were focusing on making it in a cinematic experience, and they were focusing on 30 FPS. After the game release, they went ahead and they spent time and worked on the coding or whatever it was, the infrastructure to get them to the place where they could do 60. As you all already acknowledged, the game was never capped on 30 on PC. The game was always able to go at whatever your hardware was capable of it going to. So the idea that when they said that 30 FPS is where they wanted for that cinematic experience, as if that was open and shut case done, versus having a few like cells in the brain where you can put together the fact that the game released on PC at the same time, where you could do 60, 120, whatever your heart desire, right? Unless there was a cap, right? Then you would know that that idea doesn't hold water. The fact of the matter is that at the time of developing the game, just like Todd Howard said the same thing. He said he preferred 30 FPS because he wanted to make it as beautiful as he could. That's what he said in the interview before the game dropped. Ninja Theory didn't say anything wrong or deceiving when they said at the time that they were making the game that they were focusing on making it the most cinematic experience that they could, and they did that at 30 FPS. Afterwards, just like Starfield, afterwards they went ahead and were able to get it to a point where it's 60 FPS. After. So during the time of development, there is no change in what they said. That is exactly what they delivered. They delivered the most cinematic experience that you have ever experienced in a game. Don't play yourself. You know that that's the case. They did exactly what they said. A year later, this is new scenario that exists. And again, you can try to put on your console war hat and say that, oh, it's because of PlayStation 5. Then explain to me, fam, and I just need to know, because maybe I'm maybe I'm not as up on it as you. Why did Starfield have a 60 FPS patch a year later? Did that come to PlayStation 5 as well?
Not yet. I would imagine
Not
it's
yet,
going to be announced soon, but
it didn't, right?
right.
And it would be 2 years if it came out this year, 3 years if it came out next year. But in 1 year, they gave us the 60 FPS patch, right? So what was the motivation then? After the game released, they worked on it more. That is the answer. They did the same exact thing with this. They worked on it more. They got it to where it could be. Guess what? 30 FPS is still on S Series S. In that
Yes.
year, they could not get it to run at a way that they wanted to. Now, Starfield, that runs at 60 FPS on the Series S. They were able to do it. So what is your explanation on why it's still 30 FPS on Series S?
Well, I mean, it could be that I mean, obviously it's just the hardware, or they didn't have enough
It's just
time
the
to finish it.
hardware. So now there's no deceptive nature there. There's no problem there because the hardware can't hold the quality that they want at 60 FPS, right? That's where the issue comes in. It's the narrative that they want to chase, and there's this world where they think that the fun thing is to give smoke where it's due, and it's like, fam, there's no smoke. This is props. Good job, Ninja Theory, for getting it at 60 FPS. So anybody playing the game for the first time going forward will have a new experience. When they were making the game, they were focusing on making it the most cinematic experience they could right off the rip. That's what happened. That's what they delivered. Now, did they come out and say that? No. Now they're saying, okay, we're doing an enhanced version, enhanced based off the original. We spent time boosting it up. Should the PC players be so upset that there's now a new level above where it was when it launched? Did you read that part?
Honestly,
right?
I couldn't say whether the PC gamers are complaining. A lot of the conversation that I've personally had is because one of the things that they, and again, this is the conversation that's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen, and I understand the frustration. I think people want a bit of transparency from Xbox Game Studios. And one thing I will say, and I think that what you saw with Hellblade is a far gone conclusion. I don't think games are coming out at 30 frames anymore. I think that they are going to, because they have so many studios and they have so many games in development, and there's actually no rush to fill a cadence because of the amount of games coming out. There is no, okay, we were working on this and we have this deadline. We have to have it. Because if you remember, folks, we did hear before she left the studio for Obsidian that that Avowed was only going to release at 30 frames. It got delayed, and then what wound up happening? You got a 30, a 40, and a 60. And I know a lot of people played at 60. Some people probably played even more than that, especially if you had a comparable PC. You were probably playing it even maybe 90 frames, maybe 100 frames. I played it at 40 and I loved it. I thought the 40 was absolutely perfect. But again, this is one of those situations where it's not the big topic of the show. I love this community. I appreciate that, and of course, Sin has been a big fan of the show for a long time. You guys and gals wanted us to talk about it. Well, here we are. We're talking about it. And again, if you have in the future, if you have any requests for specific topics that maybe I didn't see or didn't come across, and you'd like it covered, just DM me or drop a message in the chat. Again, we try to include everybody here. There are really no right or wrong answers here. It is getting a 60 frames mode on the Series X. It's getting a 60 frames mode for PC. It's getting an enhanced mode, same mode for PS5, PS5 Pro. I don't necessarily personally think that it was held back for the PS5. To be honest with you, I think 30 is what they wanted to do. If there was going to be an eventual 60 mode, I see where the criticism comes in, where they said they could have easily said, hey, listen, folks, we are releasing this game at 30. We are investigating or currently developing a 60 frames mode we don't have a time frame for it. This is how we wanted to sell the game. It's a cinematic experience. It's a single player game. It's not a Twitch shooter. 30 frames is going to work. If you want to play it on PC, you can add additional frames based on your hardware, but we are looking into, and I think that's really what it comes down to. If they would have said, hey, folks, it's 30 frames, but we are currently looking into potentially adding a 60 frames mode. We don't know if we can get there, but we're going to try. Right? Like, I don't know if that's something they want to, if a developer would want to put out there, because obviously,
I feel like that's so much, bro. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is about gaming, bro. Like, why are we sitting here acting like these people are supposed to be telling us everything in possibility in the future? What if they couldn't come up with 60 FPS and they announced that they were trying to make it happen and people didn't buy the game
then
because
that people would be complaining about that probably. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, what do
Yeah.
you mean? The game is out. You either play it at 30 or go buy a PC right now if that's the only way you're going to experience it. And obviously, Xbox is eliminating all this conversation in the future anyway, right?
Well, yeah, because everything is
going
going to be on
forward,
PC. PC's Xbox, Xbox is PC. So
exactly.
moving forward, your next console is not going. You're not going to have a problem with this, because your next console is not only going to be powerful, but you're literally going to be playing the PC version of the game. And if you are playing the PC version on this new hardware, you're probably going to have multiple choices in regards to frame. So again, it's small topic, folks. I see a lot of people in this chat. This is honestly probably one of the topics that I've seen a split, and everyone's being really good with one another, which is what we want. Nobody needs to call anybody names. Nobody needs to throw anybody under any buses or anything. If you're okay like me, I was okay with 30. Absolutely okay with 30. I've had this conversation in private DMs, and they're like, yeah, that's you, Boom, but that's not everybody. Okay, right? Not every game is for every gamer. Not every frame rate is for every game.
You just nailed it. Not every game's for every gamer, bro. If you're sitting there saying to yourself, man, if it ain't 60, it ain't for me, then go play another game, fam. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're gonna cry anytime something comes up, bro, cry quietly to yourself in your room under your covers. Okay, that's what you do. Don't come out here crying nonstop. Listen, this is the one thing I promise you, and this is what I love, because I'm obviously, you guys know who I am. You see my stance on stuff. I'm not looking to cry about everything. I'm never going to cry about everything unless it's real, and is my definition of real, not what other people think is worthy of crying for. So I'm never going to do that. But what I love is seeing all the crying that took place. All the I'm leaving Xbox, F all this, we're done. Xbox is nothing, blah 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 blah. And I love that Microsoft not only didn't care or listen, but they doubled and tripled down on their plan. And they said, the F with you. We know what you did to us on the Xbox One generation, where you made them change something that would have ultimately put them in a phenomenal position, because they already had everything right to begin with, but they were scared and they buckled to all the people who sat there and cried. And that is a different Xbox now. There's no more. You either get on the boat or you go and swim. That's the only option. I'm so done with the crying. And there is no, and I see you do you K now broke boy insider, my boy says legit criticism. No, there is no legit criticism with this situation. I'm sorry. I know we want to keep things fair. Oh, everybody has opinion. I get it. This is BS, bro. The game came out a year ago. The game came out a year ago and we all loved it. If you didn't love it, it wasn't because of the 30 FPS. It's because you didn't like that type of game. Okay. The fact that you're crying now is BS. It's bull. You're crying because you know why? Because you think that the other ponies who are watching are going to think you're legit. That's why you want people to make you feel like you're legit because you're giving them smoke. That's not legit. That's you following these other people who are sitting here when you know you played that game and you know you love that game. If you're crying about that now, you're full of it. I'm sorry. It's crying. It's crying. That's what it is. If they went ahead and they dropped the 60 FPS mode on PlayStation and did nothing for the Xbox and left that at 30 FPS, there's smoke. That's where smoke will come in. Then it's like, yo, what are you doing? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You figure something out to work there and not here?
Well,
No,
that's
bull.
the same ideology, and I say this all the time. Like, if, say, for instance, there was a game released by Xbox first party, and it was released only on PlayStation and not on Xbox, that would ultimately be ridiculous smoke. But look, ladies and gentlemen, again, I don't want to hang up. We're already 40 minutes into the show. I hope that you are enjoying it. Again, this is I'm going to make a separate video out of this and put it up. It's going to be titled 30 for FPS versus 60 FPS. If you want to listen to it, if you like, you're just tuning in and you don't want to rewind it. I think that the conversation in this chat right now is probably the best of the year because it is legit people that have an issue with it, and there are people that are like, yeah, I don't really care, but everyone is being like really good with one another, even if they don't have the same opinion. Again, this is a topic that was brought up by somebody who watches the show. Sin, shout out to you, brother, for the suggestion. Definitely appreciate it. And folks, again, no smoke for anybody. If you are aggravated that you feel that this was a PlayStation 5 play and they should have done better, that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. If you're like me and you were okay with the 30, and I actually was perfectly fine with the 30, again, does that make me a terrible gamer? I get maybe to some, because I've actually had people be like, oh, boom, you should ask for better. 30 was fine for me. I beat the game twice. I loved every second of it. And yes, it did feel like a movie-like experience. If you don't like 30, then don't play it. If you're okay with 30 like me, play it. But I do want to move on to the second topic of the show, C Money. This one is interesting because this also brings into question the change in ideology or even stance with Xbox Game Studios. And this is one of those changes for the better. The one thing that we heard from a lot of the devs, and this is something that Phil Spencer wanted to see more of, and obviously his thoughts and theories have been enacted into, well, reality, because more studios are reaching out to other Xbox Game Studio heads for help.
Yeah.
And where this originally started from, folks, if you didn't know, is, well, the coalition has a team that goes around to each studio that is working with Unreal Engine 5. And this master team works with that studio, being representatives of the coalition, which we know are the best in the business when it comes to Unreal Engine and Unreal Engine 5. And that team shifts from other teams, like what we're talking about right now with Outer Worlds, Obsidian, whether that be Ninja Theory, whether that be, pick your favorite flavor. But this particular story is very interesting. Now, again, I pulled this from GameSpot.com. It was written by Blair Marnell, posted on June 26th of this year, obviously 2025. And the lead art title for this article is The Outer Worlds 2 has been developed with help from the Halo Studio devs. And it goes on to say, Obsidian Entertainment received some valuable feedback from Halo Studios while developing the genesis for the Outer Worlds 2. And I just want to read some of the, because again, everything in this article is context. So before we get C Money and we read some of the super chats, and there's been quite a few of them, we'll get to them in a second. I do want to read it for context because, again, it does really set up this story nice. Now, it goes on to say, or Blair goes on to say, later this year, The Outer Worlds 2 will take players to a distant colony world called Arakati, where they can shoot their way out of trouble with a new assortment of weapons. According to the game's director, Brandon Alder, Obsidian Entertainment knew the sequel needed to be a significant improvement over the original. The Outer Worlds, over the original Outer Worlds. To achieve that goal, the team turned to the developers of Halo for advice. And this is what Brandon had to say. We talked to the Halo folks, and this is an interview during at the website called The Guardian. They gave us a huge list of stuff and said, you guys should target this. You should add that to your weapon configurations. Adler also goes on to say that Obsidian did a full breakdown on Destiny because we love how the gunplay felt. Now, goes on to say, Adler notes that the sequel doesn't have loading screens before entering buildings like its predecessor, which is great, and the weapons have been revamped with fresh options and a huge amount of customizable features. And this is what Adler had to add to the conversation. We didn't want small changes. Every weapon feels different. Every weapon has a cool, unique purpose. You can even take those weapons and add mods to them to do all of the crazy things that you want. And again, this is one of those situations, C Money, where the left hand is talking to the right hand, and both hands are making an incredible meal. And I think that The Outer Worlds 2 is going to be bigger and better than ever before. It's one of my most anticipated games. Why? Because, well, Avowed, still my personal game of the year. Obsidian is one of my favorite developers. And by the time this year has come and gone, they will have put out a total of 3 new games, which is absolutely astounding when you consider how big the games are. Avowed was a massive undertaking. The Outer Worlds 2 seems bigger than the original. And of course, Grounded 2, out of absolutely nowhere, is gonna be in preview, and people are already so excited for it. There's been a huge intake or uptick with people playing the original. I want to get your thoughts on this because I think that this is a brilliant strategy. I think it's something that we've seen other publishers do, but I think that Xbox has an incredible cadence right now with their games. And the fact that they do have studios working with other studios to finish their products. See, we got to admit, the last couple of years of first party Xbox games, there's no way you can admit or even say that they've been mid. They have been stellar releases. And, well, Outer Worlds 2 looks like it's going to be another banger, bro.
Yeah, Redfall was the catalyst. The impact.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, that was that was the end of mid games. I believe it.
Yeah, like, and even that quote unquote mid game, like, you enjoy the hell of it. You played a whole bunch of it. I played a good amount of it. I enjoyed it. But it's like that was the moment where Matt Booty got involved in every game being made, as opposed to just the Xbox Studios ones, and then each other arm or branch was kind of functioning on their own. That changed everything. So I mean, the fact that they're working together, I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, I think you did as well, but we just covered that Phil Spencer interview that he did at Summer Games Fest, and he said, like, that's one of the biggest things for him right now is seeing all of the teams work together, right? Seeing them all going ahead and kind of helping each other with the different expertise they have in the different engines, right? And yeah, that is going to keep that quality bar high, right? It's going to keep the quality bar high. They haven't dropped the game in any genre that wasn't at a high caliber, whether it was, Our History Untold, completely different genre of game that I never would ever play, and Doodle as well, and Doodle literally was just playing it yesterday. Like, she's been playing it. Like, that game is not a game we normally would play, but they made such an amazing game, such an amazing experience, and it's awesome, right? And so they're hitting regardless of where they launch a genre, and that's a beautiful thing, right? Because they are kind of elevating the way people look at an Xbox game, right? Outside of the naysayers and the ponies, right? Um, I mean, overall, we've been really happy with it, but they literally have told us that they have coalition out there helping people. Halo Studios clearly is going to have an impact on Outer Worlds, and I mean, as much as people talk about Halo Infinite, it for me being the huge Halo fan that I am, it was 100% my favorite Halo experience, hands down. So
Yeah, I would have
the,
to agree with you. It's phenomenal. And again, the grappling hook, the
the
grapple
grappling hook
shot
changed everything.
changed the game,
Um,
like literally and figuratively. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like they really nailed it for me. So um to have them go ahead and be a part of helping the Outer Worlds game, the new one come out. I mean, that's going to be crazy cuz Outer I love the first Outer Worlds, but it did have that like for lack of a better word, like the jank, right? Like it's the shooting wasn't amazing. It didn't feel amazing. It was serviceable, it was fine. But this is all going to change now, right? Now they're using the expertise of other studios to help them with their vision. Um and I think that that is the best case scenario for what Xbox is doing here, right? The best case scenario is Xbox is purchasing publishers and studios, and instead of all these companies having to just rely on their internal, um, reflection on the game, and instead now they have all these other studios and studio heads that can go ahead and talk about what they're doing. It's phenomenal. Phil brought up the idea that they go ahead and they have like the studio comes out and gives ideas and their pitch for what they're thinking of doing, and other studios and other people involved are like, man, that's a very good idea, you should go forward with that, we can actually help you here, or it's
Yep.
there's been ideas that have been deaded because outside of their little bubble when they were thinking about it, the greater circle
The
of
bigger
Xbox
minds, if
studios.
you will. You know what that
Yeah, just
sounds a lot like? I mean, you're a big MCU fan like me. One of the things that Kevin Feige does, folks, is they have these retreats where heads of studios all converge, and they have this massive whiteboard round table where everyone's pitching ideas. And I don't know, and again, this is just my take on it based on what C Money was saying. If you listen to Phil Spencer, the way he specifically expresses how the teams now it's standard fare to work together, I don't know if they have the same type of ideology where they have these retreats, but they could have like these big, I don't even know what you would call it. I guess meeting of the minds with the studio saying, hey, this is what we want to do. This is our pitches. And maybe, this room of leaders, you know, approve or disapprove, say, yeah, you should do this. This is a better idea. I don't know if they do the same thing, but it kind of sounds like it, see.
I feel like it's a similar idea, right? Like it, you know, having more input on these ideas is a great thing. And it's not like, to be clear, they're not taking away, the identity of these studios by making them into like just a mashup of everyone's ideas. It's just being able to bounce your ideas off of your contemporaries, like the people who are in your position and people who are going to be, uh, able to help you if you need it in certain cases. Like you could be in a situation where you're like, I have this idea for this certain type of game, doing this certain type of thing, but we're not really sure how to make this work, and then people could be like, oh yeah, we can definitely help, or people could be like, nah, that's like that doesn't sound feasible, right? Like, it just allows them to have somebody to bounce it off of and see if, you know, and not somebody, multiple bodies, right? You know, the bigger group there that are able to kind of help. And again, now that we've seen how literally everyone has been hitting nonstop, right?
It's just been one
Like
banger after another. Honestly, it's just been an onslaught of
it has
incredible
been.
quality. And again, folks, look, there's been some games that have come out that have been mid, right? I know people go right back to what's the vampire game that everyone hates? You mentioned it before.
Redfall?
Yes, Redfall. Why I keep thinking Fallout something? Okay, Redfall. Which again, I have over 80 hours in. I don't make no apologies for that. I rolled 3 characters. I freaking loved it. Yes, it was underbaked, 1,000%. But then people, of course, bring up like Crackdown 3. Folks, that's 100 years ago. Don't bring up Crackdown
Exactly.
3. I actually see people
Exactly.
fighting over that. The reason why that game, and by the way, that game was effing awesome. If you actually played it, the reason why, first of all, that game shouldn't even exist because
Well,
the
Crackdown
actual
3?
original tech was ripped out of the game
Oh
because
yeah.
the company was bought by Epic Studios. If you didn't know, that shooting through the wall, that technology had to be removed from the game because Epic bought that tech company. Crazy. The game
Yep.
shouldn't even exist. But again, yes, there's been
It was
some
a
mid
good time for
games.
sure. I
Yeah,
enjoyed myself.
but I will have to admit here with C, folks, I mean, I don't know how far you want to go back. You want to go back 2 years? You want to go back 26 months, 28 months, whatever you want to go back to, we can have a conversation. But Xbox has been hitting on all cylinders, and their first party games, folks, may not be 96 metas across the board, but they have been hitting in the high 80s and above. And I last time I checked, see, I thought 80 and 85s were good scores. I guess not.
Yeah, well, they're never gonna get their due with that. I've almost fallen out of the idea of what like what these scores are because sometimes they're great, sometimes they turn left. Like Starfield, come on, man, that's crazy. Like Starfield is an amazing experience. People are still playing it today, right?
Bro, that
Because of how
game.
good it is.
Did you know the game is how many years old? Did you know that
20
I've talked to people that
years,
have beaten the
three.
game 7 times, see money, and every time they've beaten it, when they restart the game,
Yeah, it's
they're
different.
like here are two scenarios, folks. And there's hundreds of them, from what I understand.
Yep.
That the people that you meet to open up the game were all dead, and there was another scenario where they were all children, like
Yeah,
kids
they were kids.
running
Yep.
around. That's freaking crazy. I
It's
guarantee
so
you there's
dope,
at
bro.
least we have almost 400 people here. I guarantee you that if you beat Starfield, most people will be like, wait, hold on a sec. What do you mean they were all dead? That's right. Everyone was dead.
Yep.
And the other scenario is that they were all kids, all children. Crazy stuff, dude. So yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
it's crazy. Even the craziest part about that is that we saw so many people talking about that just when it first came out. Like people were just beating it, playing it again, beating it, playing it again, like nonstop. And the fact is that the people who rated it lower or whatever the case is are just ridiculous because that game honestly, it's phenomenal. If I didn't have other games to play, I would be living in there. I have to play these other things and do these other things. But if not, I would live in there. And that's the problem with a game like that because it's not a MMO. But the way that they designed the game is that literally every time you beat it, it's essentially you're not beating it. You're just kind of restarting that situation and experiencing this entire man possibility of change. It's so well done. But aside from all that, the point of the fact of the matter is, Outer Worlds 2 is gonna cook. Like you, Boom, Avowed is still my game of the year.
Yep.
And no matter what game comes out, like I have to like I feel like you have to kind of put your money where your mouth is. And there's no game that I played more outside of multiplayer stuff than Avowed. I
Yep.
literally played it for 75 hours for the review, and that was, like, rushing towards the end, and then afterwards, when I was free of the review, I went back, restarted the whole thing, and put another, I don't know, 80, 90, I don't even know, like stupid amount because I spent even longer. Literally got every nook and cranny out of it. I think I missed a couple things that I couldn't find, and I didn't bother using the guide or something. I could probably go back and just kind of finish the few other things out, but I put so much time in that game, and I just loved it. They nailed every part of the game. The story was great. The gameplay was great. The combat was great. And they literally nailed it. Probably my favorite like parkour system
Oh,
in
dude, it's
first
so good.
person.
Yeah.
Like it just worked beautifully. You're never sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm trying to jump." Nope, you just go. It knows how to do it. Triggers it all the time. It was just it was just phenomenal. It was
I
phenomenal.
just checked
So
my stats. I have
yep,
110 hours into that game.
110 hours. That's
Yes.
fire.
4
That's fire. I
days,
gotta see.
14 hours, and 21 minutes. And you know what's freaky? I only have half the achievements. Very disappointing. I'm disappointed with myself.
Yeah, see,
And most of
that's
the
the problem.
most of the achievements that I don't have was I couldn't get enough experience to do the stuff with with the with your companions to level them up to their highest level, which is what I'm waiting for, and that is the new game plus. Because then I'll be able to play through the game again, and I will that game. And you know what's crazy? I know we're going all over the place. We're supposed to be talking about the Outer Worlds. It is at least Obsidian, but I played the game from a Magic user's first person perspective. Now, how I'm going to go play this game in my playthrough, my replay through, my new game plus, is I'm going to play it in third person with a warrior build, with a
Ooh,
shield, gun, and sword build, because I watched other people's gameplay, which I normally don't do. And I'm like, holy shit, did I play this game wrong? This is crazy. That looks awesome. Jamie Moran did a build like that. And I'm like, Jamie, I'm going to have to borrow your build, brother, because that looks awesome. And that's why this is still my game of the year. Because no matter how you
so
played this game, someone else played it different. And even though there's an ultimate ending there's an ending to the game, the experience to get there for everyone is so different. That's what I love about it. But
yeah.
see money.
Yeah, mine says 5 days, 17 hours.
There you go, brother.
I got
Jesus, that's even more
700
than
out
me.
of
Look at
1,000.
you. A day more than me that you really love that game.
Dude, I honestly, I would've the crazy shit is that if I'm being 100% honest, if I didn't have any other game, I would've just went back. I would've went right back
Yeah.
and started again. Like,
I
that's how
restarted the
good that
game
game is.
again. I really did, but like you said, it's just too much to play. See, there's just, and again, we get
It
a
is
lot
too
of
much,
stuff for
man, it's hard.
review, so we don't have
Yep.
the luxury. And you and the missus do way more reviews than I do. I only do a handful. If you're
Bro,
wondering why,
we're behind on just because of time. I have
yes,
multiple games that we're supposed to put out, something for, and it's like, god damn.
it's
You know what I'm
just
saying?
not.
Like, it's like we're as cool as it is
It
to
is cool.
have the access to the stuff, we're not, you know, IGN or these people who have a bunch of people who could just play the game and give their thoughts. It's like it's me, it's Doodle. We also have our lives, so,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a
yeah,
balance.
absolutely.
It's a balance,
Game
but
Shark in the chat says the avowed choices are tough. A lot of the times you're choosing between two bad outcomes. Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong. But look,
yep.
folks, we are an hour in. I hope that you've had as much fun. This is honestly one of my favorite shows of the week for sure. We had a powerful entry to open up, talking about the Hellblade 30 versus 60. Obviously, we had a real fun time talking about the Outer Worlds 2 and the fact that each company now is getting help from other developers within Xbox Game Studios. I think it's brilliant. I think that's why their games are actually better, because they have people with fresh eyes from other studios looking and offering advice. And I think that is phenomenal. I really do. I think that's great. We do
And they
have
have time on their side, like you mentioned,
time.
right? Now
Yes.
there's so
Yes.
many studios, they do have time on their side. I think there's a have to be an understanding that, before all of this happened, before they had all these studios, when they budget these games, they budget them with like, okay, it's gonna take you X amount of time. This is how much we're gonna spend. so make it happen. And it's like, okay,
Yep.
well, you need some more time, fine. But like now, I think that because they have so many studios, they can look at the picture a little more realistically. And it's like, well, how fast can we get it out? And it's like, well, how much time do you need to make this what you actually want it to be, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're out of that world of people thinking
Well, you
that
got to remember
games are
they
not
were
that good.
battling only having 4 or 5 studios, in yesteryear, and now they have 30 plus studios. So now when a game needs more time, like I don't know, Fable, for instance, is gonna
Yep.
say they needed more time. Okay, we need more time. All right, not a problem. We have I don't know, 12 games releasing from first party this year. Fable, take a knee. We'll come back to
I
you next
You
year.
know what's funny? I feel like Fable I don't think now that I'm looking at what Phil said at the end of the show, right? At the end of the showcase, I'm starting to think in my mind that I don't think it was because they needed the time. I think Phil said what's gonna be most impactful for us is to release Fable alongside the rest, right? So every time you used to think about Xbox, it was Halo, Gears, Forza, and Fable, right? Like those were the 4 games. And next year is that 25-year anniversary. I think they held it back to hit the 25-year anniversary. They didn't need it this year. I think Outer Worlds being ready was the kind of catalyst for them to be like, all right, we don't need Fable this year. We got Outer Worlds this year.
Yeah,
Let's
I
push
mean it's
that
true.
back.
Well, I
So,
mean, again, it
uh,
would be it
and
would be
possible console next year.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Mm.
I've been talking about that. People call me crazy, folks. The more I talk about it, the more you keep
Bro,
hearing from the likes of Paris
boom.
Lily and others.
I don't know if you
Money,
heard, our show or if anybody brought it up to you like they brought it up to us, but we had somebody in our chat who literally confirmed that this is exactly what's gonna happen next year, and I know it's
here you
not
go.
confirmed until it happens, but
Right, of
if
course.
plans follow suit, I've completely forgot. I completely 100% forgot. I only remember in December of 2019 when they shadow dropped the reveal of
Brother,
the
that
console.
exact point was brought up last night in the chat, and more specifically, Kay Asante literally said it's following the same
Yes,
pattern.
in June. They in 2019, in
Yes.
June, they announced the next console. I forgot that they teased it in June. If you go back, I during our show, I went to the actual article from Xbox Wire, and there said E3 2019 in June, we Project Scarlet. They announced it. They
Yeah.
teased it. What did they just do? They
They just
just teased
they
the
just
next
teased it,
console.
brother.
This is
They
happening
they
next year.
literally just did.
It's
So again,
happening next
folks,
year.
this is a big
It's going
hypothetical.
down. I know obviously
This
we don't know until it happens, right? But this is
no,
just the hype
brother,
levels.
I
If it
am
doesn't come out
definitely
next
picking
year,
up what you're putting down
I
because I
will
think
be
what you're
upset.
ultimately saying is look towards the Keeleys for a
Heelys for the
reveal
reveal,
of the
but Pharaoh
console.
on my show brought up the fact that since they did do it at the June showcase, let's take another couple drops of information. We were all, upset that FanFest was canceled. But fun fact, wasn't canceled, just moved.
Moved.
We've been
Yeah.
living the good life over here in the US,
Now
getting
they want to
FanFest,
share. Yeah.
and now they're bringing it to Gamescom. Now, what would fans go crazy for at
Bro.
Gamescom FanFest? Maybe if they do a teaser
Yep.
of the next console? I
Could
don't
very well
know. That would be fine. They did it at the show in 2019. They didn't do it on the show now. They just talked about it on a tweet. So maybe we get some a little more information at
bro.
Gamescom.
I'm gonna tell you
That's
this
so
right
fucked up.
now. If they do that, ay Dios Santo Jesus, oh my God, it's gonna be freaking crazy. I am.
Oh my god. Mm. Oh my god. Amazing. That would be
It's
so good.
listen. There's a lot of excitement for Xbox, I can't control myself. Neither can see money. But let me just catch up on super chats, and then we'll get to the last topic. This one I'm very excited for because I've become a Call of Duty freak master. Like it
Yes,
is
which you weren't. Famously,
No.
Before the drop of this game, you were
Halo.
boom. I only play the single player Call of Duty
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Don't care for the
I don't care about
multiplayer.
multiplayer. Who
And look
cares?
at what Black Ops 6 did to this man. He doesn't
Ruined
have
me.
footage that's not Call of Duty anymore. He deleted his whole hard drive. It's only Call of Duty footage that he has nonstop every day.
I have more Call of Duty footage of than any of my footages, which is why I play it a lot. I know people are like, oh my god, I need some new footage, folks. You may see the same thing once every couple of weeks, but I have at least
That's so
17
funny.
different 2 hour blocks recorded. One of which is my most infamous one, where I had 94 kills and only
Jesus
51
Christ.
deaths. So there you go, folks. And I
That's
do show
wild.
that from time to time to I guess get my feathers up. But Adidas 20, who's been a channel member for
Oh
29
boy.
months, my brother,
29
thank you so much
months.
for the
God
support.
damn.
He says, what's up, Dr. Pepper and sea mustards, hash olives, and salute to all. Salute to you, brother. Super appreciate you being here. A very good
Not the
dear
mustard
friend of the
olives though.
channel. Miss Lisa 10 drops an outstanding $20 super
Oh, that
chat.
was very
Lisa,
nice.
thank
You
you
didn't
so
even
much
have
for this
nothing to
chat.
say.
Yes,
That's
thank
some
you.
support.
Not even a thing to say. She's
That's good shit right
amazing.
there.
Thank you so much.
Shout out Miss
Roshan
Lisa.
Impenger drops, who's been a channel member for nearly a year. So Roshan, thank you for the support. He says, if 30 frames was intended, then give Sony the intended experience. Then in a year, give them the 60. Save that dev time for other projects. I mean, I hear what
That
you're saying. I mean, but I think that if they were gonna do 60 for one, they probably would do 60 for both. And I think the
Sean,
60
that's wild, man. Come on.
the 60
Like I get
frames
it.
mode is again,
That's
will it
that's
be an
real wild. Like
ultimately a big selling point for PlayStation? I'm not
no.
sure. We got to wait until August to see what those sales numbers. I believe that once this thing goes, I don't know, is it available for pre-order now?
I have
Because
no
no one has
idea.
made mention of it,
I don't think so.
charting.
I don't think it's ready yet because I think they
Okay.
are pushing the Gears one. I don't know if they put it up for pre-order yet.
Yeah, Gears has been number
Uh
one for a while. So I again, it's going to be very interesting to see where it falls. Because I know there might be two versions. I don't know. But if there are two versions, I would imagine that the two versions are going to be up in the top 15
Sean, we
because this
want the
is
ponies to pay. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're not this is not about like that's old stuff already, guys, with this back and forth BS. We're putting the game over there. If they
I
have it
mean, it's a
ready for
done
the
deal.
60, put it
Yeah.
60. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's done. It doesn't matter. That all they're doing is funding more games for us, bro. So just let it be. Let them
That's what
get
I
the
always
same.
say.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
all. It's really a non-issue, man. I know there's still a lot of that, left over. Hopefully there's getting smaller and smaller of a situation, but because they're they're opening gaming in a new way and they're taking advantage of it. They're growing gaming in a new way. They're out here literally putting the industry on their back, supplying more games than any publisher out there across the board now. And they're doing it at such high quality, man. You're getting first party quality across the board from Xbox. Like it's really a non-issue, man. We just need to move forward with this entire idea, this entire concept of games going wherever they go. It doesn't matter. We benefit. We benefit the most. These people are not getting our games. They're getting the ability to buy our games. Just like when we have PlayStation games available on our next Xboxes through Steam. We're not getting their games. We just have the option to buy their games
Which is
and
why I'm
play
not
it
buying a
on
PlayStation
our box.
6. That
Well,
right there
you
is the
don't need it.
reason. I don't need to. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
going to
nobody
either.
needs to.
Yeah.
So, like, there's only one box that is promising to change the industry forever and make it better for everyone, and that's Xbox, right? That's just what it is. They're pushing everything forward. These devs are clearly not in a good place across the industry. How many of them are letting people go or shutting things down? They're taking one gamble on one game and it's done. Look at Mind's Eye, excuse me, Mind's Eye, right? That's a game that kind of had a lot of, talk around it coming in, and then apparently it crapped the bed. I didn't get a chance
Yeah.
to play it, but apparently it crapped the bed, and so much so that they're already letting people go from the studio. Who
Hmm.
knows what's gonna happen to that? That's from the dude, he worked on Rocks you know, he worked for
Yeah, he
Rockstar.
worked for Rockstar for many, many years. Worked
And
on
it's like,
Grand Theft Auto. Yeah.
look, man, we want a healthy industry, and honestly, the only way for that industry to be healthy is for the people who are making these games to have the most amount of people to be able to buy them. Now, Mind's Eye obviously is everywhere, and it just failed because it had problems. But I'm talking about the how fragile these studios are, man. A lot of them are just taking one shot, right? So, nothing is different for Xbox, even though they have the money, right? You can't sit there if you understand business, you won't say, well, you have money, so you can afford to lose it. No one can afford to lose money. They don't want to. That's not business. That's not the way business works. Now they do lose money because they could choose to get rid of Game Pass and just force people to buy games and do all that stuff. But they're balancing spreading out these games and getting the word out versus trying to make as much money as possible every time. But when you have these games, like they tiered it off for us and know that smaller games don't have to hit these big milestones because they're still in it just for the love of the game, and they have the big games to go ahead and bring that money, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to make as much as possible. And I just feel like we're already at the point where it's been long enough. I get all the emotions that are out there, but PlayStation is just another PC. That's all it is. It's that's all it is. It's just a PC that is has the PlayStation 5 logo on it to Xbox, right? Doesn't matter. Games go there, they sell, they make more money. That's all.
Yeah, no,
Nothing
good
else needs
stuff,
to
man. No, great points of view. Will Sims in the chat drops a very generous $10
Whoa.
super chat. He says, not to beat a dead horse, but Unreal Engine has received 2 updates since Hellblade 2, released at 5.0. Now they have gone from 5.3 to 5.6. One of 5.6's features is improved frame
Bars.
rates. Yeah, by the end of the year, that thing is
Bars.
going to be maybe closer to
100%, man.
5.9 at that point, because
Yeah.
5.3 was avowed, and I'm not sure what Xbox games are running 5.6, but I would imagine that you're going to get whatever is top tier engine for next year for Halo and Gears. That's probably what you're getting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the
Let's
generosity,
just be
brother.
grateful that they are saying, "Hey, Ninja Theory, you can go ahead and invest in moving the engine forward and more optimization so that we can get better experiences or the experience that other people want to have." Right? Just be grateful. That's crazy.
Yeah. Will the Broke Boy Insider says Call of Duty tip: put a shock sticker or shock stick next to your C4. When you use it, the charge will shock. Sets. I didn't even know you can do that.
Oh, I
That is
didn't know
dope,
that.
dude.
That's
That
smart.
is. Yeah. I'm. You see,
A
I'm running
tip?
around trying to, because there's you got to do your dailies, which I do. And one of them is a real pain in the ass to do it, and that is the C4, which you either have to stand there and blow it up, and then most of the time blow you up yourself. I didn't know you could do the sticker though. That is a dope. Thank you for the tip, brother. Super appreciate
That's real
that.
smart.
But you know what, guys, gals, Black Ops 7 happening this year, confirmed at the Xbox Games Showcase. A lot of people didn't like the fact that it ended the show as that one more thing, and I'm not going to front. As much as I'm excited for it, I wish it would have been something else, but I'm
But it
super stoked
is
now.
something else, bro. It just happens to have the
Oh
Call of
no,
Duty
no,
Black
it
7
really is
name on
something
it,
else, and
bro.
that's what we're going to get into. This is not your Black Ops 6, ladies and gentlemen. So the story that I pulled is from GamesRadar.com. All of these links are in the show notes, so if you want to check out the articles and support the the websites that are writing these articles, like I do by clicking on them, you can go check them out. This was written by Fran Ruiz. Published. Now, this was published a while back. But again, I've been sitting on this particular story because there's been breaking news for a couple of weeks in a row where every time, it's the craziest thing. Every time I wanted to talk about Black Ops 7, there was something that broke. But I do have some new information regarding it. Now, the title of the article is Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Everything We Know So Far About the Upcoming Shooter. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is heading our way in 2025 and is returning to Black Ops 2 Dark Tech Dominant Future. And this is what you did. If you didn't already know, this is a sequel to Black Ops 2, which of course is ahead of Black Ops 6, which is a prequel. A lot of people don't know that. And I actually have the breakdown here on what the actual chronological order is. Pretty freaking incredible when you think about it. So let me just pull that up over here. So before we dive any deeper, according to the article, Black Ops 7's story and setting. Here is a rundown of the chronological order for the Black Ops sub-franchises. World of War, which I did not know, and it says in parentheses, yes, it's connected to the series, is first, then Black Ops 1, then Cold War, Black Ops 6, 2, 7, 4, and 3, which is very interesting. And of course, they say Black Ops 4 is skippable because the franchise only had multiplayer and no one actually cared about it. Plus, the multiplayer was freaking terrible. But according to the story, it goes on to say, we have yet to receive confirmation on which ending has been chosen as canon to shape the state of the world and the main characters when Black Ops 7 story begins. But the twisted bad guy, Raul Mendez, and I remember him, is back somehow. Now, I would imagine if he's back, that means that they didn't take the death ending, and, well, we're going to see what they're going to do with it. Goes on to say, many will instantly say he's not dead, but the Black Ops series is known for loopy twists and the focus on psychological warfare, so he can be back, but not alive. So, I mean, maybe he's going to be a cyborg, which would be crazy because cyborgs did in fact play a huge part. As a matter of fact, they show it here in the story that I'm using. But see, Money, look, we learned that last year's Black Ops 6 was the biggest in franchise history. That has been confirmed, right? It sold where 65% of sales of Black Ops 6, ladies and gentlemen, came the way of PlayStation 4 and 5. And interestingly enough, which I am still super surprised at this, folks, here's the list of the consoles that it's releasing for. At launch, Black Ops 7 will be on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS5, PS5 Pro, PS4, and PC. It's also going to be available via Xbox PC, Battle.net, and Steam. And I am honestly blown away. Now, it does say that there is a potential release, and we did hear this a couple of weeks ago, that Microsoft, or specifically Activision, is working with Nintendo to bring Black Ops 7 to the Switch 2. How they're going to pull off that miracle, I have no idea, but I would imagine if it can run on an Xbox One or PS4, the Switch 2 is supposedly a PlayStation 4 Pro power. So we will definitely see. But see, Money, look, I have a very easy and strong suspicion that Black Ops 7 is once again going to be the best-selling first-person shooter of the year. I think that Battlefield has a shot. We've actually seen quite a few videos of what the destruction is going to look like, and supposedly that same destruction, or similar destruction, will be coming to next year's Modern Warfare 4. I don't know if they're going to have the same type of technology in the form of destructibility for Black Ops 7. And actually, I don't need it to be. I get wall banged all the time. Pause by people shooting through doors and stuff, and it works just fine. It would be nice to see crumbling walls. I guess maybe you can shoot through some walls and camp, maybe even better. But the one thing that I want to talk about is this is a future of Black Ops, right? This is taking place, Black Ops 2 future. That means it's going to be, again, there's been some talk about some wall running a la Titanfall. I don't know.
I thought they said there would be no wall running.
Well, I know that they said that they're making some big strides for the Omni
movement. Yeah.
The Omni movement that was game-changing for me personally in Black Ops 6. The wall running, I don't know if it's wall running or it's wall climbing. There's something to do with the way that you move that's going to be either different, better, or both for Black Ops 7? Again, we know that it is literally a sequel to Black Ops 2. We know that Black Ops 2 is a future-based game. I want to get your thoughts on this because, again, at the very end of the trailer, we did get a glimpse into some multiplayer maps, campaign maps, and of course, they're bringing back zombie mode, which again is just standard fare for anything Call of Duty. What are your thoughts, man? Are you personally excited for Call of Duty happening? And again, we don't even have a release month. I think it's October. It could be November, but I'm thinking October, standard at least. What are your thoughts, C?
Well, I mean, first of all, like you, I loved Black Ops 6, but I've always enjoyed multiplayer, and in most games I like playing multiplayer if it's a big feature of it, if it's something you expect like a Battlefield or something, or Halo. Most games I'll play for at least the beginning, until people get like really good and they start kicking my ass. But this one, I just like you, I keep dabbling into it. I don't play it every day. I was, but you know,
You want to know how many hours, how many days I have in this thing? I'm looking
oh
right now
god,
at the
I couldn't
stats,
even
folks.
imagine
22
how many.
days, 9 hours, and 12 minutes.
22 days.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Um, Let me see if I have mine here because that's crazy. I don't think I have.
22 day,
All
almost
right, let me
almost
see.
as many days in Halo, because Halo Infinite, I think I have 25 or 26 days.
Oh, dude, I'm not even in the same vicinity, bro. That's crazy. I'm at 5 days and 3 hours. That's a whole different world. Hold on one quick second, bud. Hold on one quick second.
What do you think? So as he walks away, folks, let me just go back to the article and let me pull out some of the important conversations that they are having in this here article. Um, Let's see. It goes on to say that little else is known about the actual plot of the campaign, although the teaser trailer provides some clues. Peace has been restored or is in the process of being restored at the end of Black Ops 2, thanks to an organization called the Guild. During the events of the Black Ops 6 game, this group is involved in weapon trafficking and smuggling. 40 years later, it's involved into a seemingly huge global weapons manufacturer operation led by CEO Emma Kagan. They're according to the story, they're offering to protect the world from itself thanks to all sorts of automated weapons, drones, and robots. And I really think that based on how incredible Black Ops 6 was, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be, again, just by the trailer's nature. I mean, who in the chat here, folks? And let me get to the live chat while we await C Money's return. Rob Clay, I see you there, brother. 22 days, 10 hours, 11 minutes, Black Ops 6. Max City Entertainment says wall running and boosting is amazing. You'll just need to get good. I mean, look, this is going to be a stark difference from Black Ops 6 to Black Ops 7, simply because it's a 40-year difference. You are going to have drones. You are going to have robots. You're going to have cyborgs. I don't know I mean, I'll put it this way. Now I got my chain of thought back. Who in the chat thought that they were watching Alpha Protocol or Splinter Cell when this trailer started? I literally had Daneros had 15. Oh my god. He has 15 minutes in Black Ops 6. Good for you, man. Good for you. Again, it's one of my favorite games. It's my favorite Call of Duty of all time. I've just been real, and I'm really good at it. I'm not like tooting my own horn because I need to do it. I'm for an old bastard like myself who's going to be 55, who may not have the same skills as I did 30 years ago. I'm pretty nice, and I have a certain subset. I mean, like I love this game so much that I go in and I'm constantly tweaking my 6 different sets of weapons. Like I've never done that with anything, and I really do like this game. But again, chat, while we wait for C Money, throw your opinions in the chat so I can read, live and verbatim. I did not think this was the when I saw this, because it was the one last thing, I thought Splinter Cell. I really did. I know the guy doesn't look like Sam Fisher, but He could have been the big bad for all I know. I did not know that this was going to be Black Ops 7. I thought, and honestly, I thought Alpha Protocol, if anyone remembers that game from way back in the days, I would love that franchise to come back. Was it Obsidian that made that? I think it might have been. I gotta check. But if it is, do they own the IP? Oh my god, if they do. But other than that, let's see what the so Roshan Impenger Starfield is 30 days, 5. Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot. Hey, big B Money, what's going on, brother? How you feeling? Thanks so much for being here. See Voix Metamatic says looking forward to Black Ops 7 peeps. Modern Warfare 3. It was lackluster, but for me, it had the best multiplayer. Hopefully, Blop 7 is the same, making up for Soul campaign, but a fire multiplayer. I mean, again, you know what's crazy? For me personally, I'm like C Money said, I'm normally single player campaign, don't give a flying F about multiplayer. What wound up happening with me is I didn't even beat the single player campaign, and I think I just got to the mansion and did a couple of missions after it. Like I did not even play the single player, which is freaking crazy for me because I love them. And as a matter of fact, I got to get back to it. I definitely got to get back to it before the 7 comes out later this year. But let me just check super chats, make sure we are all up to date. And yeah, we are officially all up to date. But ladies and gentlemen, look, again, we'll wait for C Money to get here. And while we await his return, let's get the chats. Who throw one in the chat, folks, if you are excited for Black Ops 7, or throw a 2 if you don't care. A lot of people don't care about Black Ops. A lot of people said it's jumped the shark. Especially adding characters like I don't know, Beavis and Butthead was just added. I see Money. What's up, brother?
Where is Beavis and Butthead, by the way? I hopped in yesterday looking for it. I didn't see it. Is it already gone?
I don't think it's actually released as of yet. I know that
it's coming soon.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I went in there looking. I mean, it's been a while since I jumped in. This is my problem. Okay, so there's 3. So basically, you have Halo Infinite, you have Fortnite, and you have Call of Duty. That my skin collection is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I spend money like it's water.
Dude, it's fucking crazy how much. Sorry for cursing. It's crazy how much. How many, like, Fortnite is the king of it for sure, and then Halo doesn't fall too far behind, and then this is now all of a sudden becoming like another thing where it's just like there's so many dope skins, and I just wanna have so many of them.
You want them all? Nothing wrong with that.
They're so good, and then the game, I know there's like pay to win or whatever. I don't care. I love buying all these guns that are already fully loaded. Come on, man,
Me too.
that's fire. I'm so in it. You show me a dope gun, I'm probably gonna buy the skin. You know what I'm saying? That has to happen. It's too good. That being said, I heard the next game is supposed to keep this going, and I hope that that's the case. Like, I don't want to see. I know they used to reset. I know they used to reset the skins. Like, the skins were only for a certain game, which that would be really upsetting to me if they don't.
They better carry over. Like if Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7, if they don't, that's going to be.
I'll be so annoyed, bro. I'll be so annoyed. I probably wouldn't buy any more skins if that was the case because I have so many. Like Fortnite, I have like a billion skins, right? Like it just keeps going no matter what. Halo, same thing. All the different armors and stuff. It's like, don't be that way, Call of Duty. All right, I'll be really mad if you're telling me that next game comes out, I don't have all my dope skins. So figure it out. I know they keep it for Warzone. So in Warzone, all the skins you bought over I don't know all the time, but the last game I bought a bunch of skins and those are still available in Warzone. But in the main game, they better not do that shit. I'll be really, really mad because I have so many. So many.
You know what's interesting? We know that the Outer Worlds 2 is going to be the first $80 game. I would imagine that Black Ops 7 is going to be an $80 game. I'm just wondering what they're going to do in regards to the normally the $100 edition. Does that go to $120?
That would be wild.
Yeah, it would be unbelievable. But
I
again,
feel like I get the going to 80 because of what Nintendo did. It kind of is what it is now. So shout out to Mario Kart World for ruining the
Ruining gaming.
pricing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So like it just is what it is. But there's really no excuse to then try to turn the more expensive versions of your game to be even more expensive, right? Unless you're providing that much more content, I don't see how that would be
Well, this is
justified.
this is where Xbox Game Pass comes into play. And again, I know people are going to be,
Exactly.
oh, there he is selling Xbox Game Pass, folks. I'm good to July 5th of 2028. Uh, it's fine. If you don't like Game Pass, I hear you. I'm not going
I
to
mean, I
fight
feel
with
like
you.
you
I'm not.
can't have a conversation about prices, right? Like if you're tight on money and you don't have Game Pass, then your opinion on this is very limited. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, all right, fam. Like if you're okay spending $70 a game, going up $10 shouldn't make or break you, right? For me, that sucks. That's why I got my Game Pass, so it doesn't affect me at
I just get the
all.
Volt edition. Like the $30 ink. Like last year
Yeah,
was
just
30
get the
bucks.
increase.
This one might be, God damn
I'm
it, if
good.
it's 15. I have a feeling it's going to be 49.99 because it's Activision. They like money, these companies, and that's going to kind of suck. But then again, it's the Volt edition. It's probably again. I don't know, folks. I'm just spitballing here. I think Black Ops 6 79.99, Black Ops 7 79.99, and the Volt edition, which is the bigger edition, 119.99. Now it's not something I want, folks. I'm not about that. Paying extra life, but because I mean, does anyone agree that for my $30 and my subscription service with 22 days in Call of Duty, I got my money's worth? Yeah, I'd say yeah,
I
folks.
got my money worth at 5 days, let
Yeah,
alone your
22.
22 days, so I think you're good. I think you're
Well,
good.
I mean, listen.
Uh,
Okay, so let me just catch this last super chat, see money, and folks, again, shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. We got over 400 people watching, or were 400 people watching live that really enjoyed, got really engaged with the conversation. Everyone conducted themselves like proper people. Even though you didn't agree, there was some pointed conversation, but nothing to the point where no one had to get banned. No one had to be put into a timeout or anything. And that's you guys and gals are responsible for that, because again, it's just games. Opinions are going to be different. We're not always going to agree. We may disagree on a particular topic 100%, but that doesn't mean we still can't be friends, and you still can't come and hang out and have a valued opinion. Because again, the first opening salvo with the 30 versus 60, I think, was a really interesting and powerful conversation with the community. Because if you look at the chat, it was almost split down the middle. There are people that really felt, upset about, waiting for the 60 to happen, and particularly looking at the PlayStation side of it. And other people like, listen, I played it at 30 and I enjoyed it. I beat it twice at 30 and loved every second of it. Have nothing negative to say about Hellblade 2. It did everything for me that I would imagine Ninja Theory wanted to do, and I'm okay with it. Well, I played at 60. I'm probably going to play through it again at 60 to see if it's a different experience, but we will certainly see. But do you? No, we have that already. Roshan Impenger drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Boom. Do you think your love will transfer over to Black Ops 7? Do you think Omni movement was the conversational factor, or the conversation?" Yeah, I'd say the movement for me, the Omni movement. When I first heard Jamie Moran talking about that, this is before I was like super interested in multiplayer. I was like, Jamie, what do you mean about the Omni movement? And he showed me, and I'm like, holy shit, that's freaking crazy. And then I started playing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be diving to the left, right, and center. That's just stupid. And now I dive the hell at everywhere. I'm jumping, I'm diving, I'm flipping. It's crazy.
nice.
Yeah, so I think that my love for Call of Duty, depending on what the Omni movement is for 7, we'll see. I would imagine I'm going to play it. Am I going to be as invested in 7, being that it's more future based? Maybe, because I do like the whole cyborg and drones and all the different gadgets that they're going to have that are future tech. I've become a Call of Duty stan. I don't know what else to say, but ladies and
It
gentlemen, that's
doesn't
gonna
hurt
do it.
that Xbox owns them now, right? Like
It does not
you
hurt
do
that
have
they
a
own them.
different lens when you look at them because now it's not just the Call of Duty that kept coming out every year, but it's Xbox's Call of Duty that's coming out. And
Oh,
you
man,
know they're putting in that extra work
respect.
and it just makes it easier to look at it and be like, interesting. Let's pay
Sometimes
attention
it's
to it more. And now it's like, oh shit, it's actually really good.
yeah,
So I
it
think Black Ops
absolutely
7 is gonna
is.
crush it. So it's gonna be phenomenal. I mean, hell,
Well,
even this game was so good.
yeah, I absolutely agree. Dave Reezy, I
And the
missed your original
story
super
is
chat,
gonna be
but
real
it wasn't
crazy.
because I missed it. It's because the software didn't show it. So I'm going to read it now. He dropped a very generous $5 super chat earlier in the show. Actually, here it is. It says, fun fact, C Money's mustard and olives give him morning boost. He never
Definitely not.
leaves the house without them, his daily
Lies.
dose. It gives him everything to start
Lies.
his day. So basically, you're saying that when I wake up and I have, a cup of Bustelo or something like Grandma used to make or Abuela used to make, that's how I start my day. Are you saying confirmed fact that C Money doesn't start with a cup of Bustelo? What he starts with is a cup of mustard with a hint of
Um,
olives? I can't
mm,
believe this. That sounds like
nope.
agita to
That
me, brother. That
that's
that
lies.
really does.
What I think is what he was saying is that you need to add mustard and olives to your Bustela. You know what I'm saying? Just get it
Love it.
to start your day off with a
That
boost, not
sounds
my
like,
day.
yeah, I'm gonna
My
be in the
day will start
bathroom 10 minutes later. That's what that sounds like to me. But Day Reezy, last super chat, he says, "You missed my super. It's a special one." Indeed, it was Day
no, it
Reezy.
wasn't, Day. It was not.
Thank you so
It was
much for being here
random
as
and
always.
bad. All
See
right?
Money,
That's
listen, brother.
disgusting.
Let's
Yes.
let's sell the brand. On Point for Gamers, an incredible and ever growing YouTube channel, and unique in its way, where it's family oriented, folks. Yes, it's pointed. Yes, they throw some console war shenanigans on the conversation, and we really get to see Hargeet Chinese fangs because he loves being pointed. And of course, shout out to Hargeet Chani, who was with us last night on Primetime Gaming. Had a lot of incredible things to say. So if you missed that, go check it out. But see, Money, on Point for Gamers. Let's sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to check out you, Mrs., and an array of shows? And more importantly, where can they follow you guys on the socials?
Yeah, well, obviously, Boom, first of all, appreciate you, my brother. You know, I love being on the show. So you catch me here Thursdays, 12 o'clock at X Vlog Live, Boom's channel. Always a good time. So, and like you said, we do have these conversations, and we have to have the conversations. And, it's cool that we can all kind of, just kind of shoot the shit and get our thoughts out without too much crying. So that's a good thing. But our show, On Point for Gamers, it's YouTube channel. We were just at Summer Games Fest and the IGN Live and the Mix over in Cali. So we have so much content, and this content. I mean, it's crazy, but it's almost like gamers are looking for this content because every time we go to one of these shows and put out content like this, people love it, which is awesome. So we have a lot of stuff still coming, a lot of great hands-on with games that are dropping. Actually, I think one of our previews is going to drop about 20 minutes or so. Um, and it was for Demon Slayer 2. I don't know if there's any anime fans or Demon Slayer fans here or people who like the first one, but we got our hands on the second one. And actually, my daughter's a huge Demon Slayer fan. Purpleberry, she was with us in Cali. She's our editor. She edits all our videos. And she actually was the one who got hands on this one because she's such a fan. So she did it. She did the preview. She recorded. She did all that stuff. So that's going to
Nice,
go
dude.
live at 2 o'clock today. But yeah, our channel itself, On Point for Gamers, we do everything, man. We got our live shows 3 times a week. We have previews, reviews, interviews, all that stuff. You know, it's let me. Oh, I forgot. I didn't put the link. So On Point for Gamers, you can come check us out. We had some big growth over the last 2 weeks thanks to the showcase, which is very very cool. And it's an Xbox channel, right? And I would say, I think based off the conversation we had today, you could understand what type of Xbox channel it is. We are not the doom and gloom channel. We actually are going to be the ones who actively point out the doom and gloom and kind of call it out, because it's, you know, I like to look at our channel as a retreat from the Xbox bullcrap, right? Sadly, Xbox fans tend to not the hardcore fans, but there's a lot of fans out there who tend to try to put Microsoft under a microscope in a way that no other entity in existence from any company or any industry is, right? Sony out here saying they're going to give you one game a year. Microsoft dropping 14 first party games this year. And they deserve the smoke though. Like nah man, chill. So yeah, if you're tired of the doom and gloom, that's where all of our people, I mean, a lot of the people who were in here who were not upset about this are typically the ones who are at our shows. It's just kind of what it is. We're about celebrating what Xbox is doing out here, and really kind of taking a look at the industry from the other entities like PlayStation, Nintendo, under the scope of a Microsoft fan and Xbox fan, and compared to what we're getting, we're in a whole different league than these other places. So definitely come check us out. It's a fun time, man. We have Tuesday night show, Thursday night show, and Friday night show, 8 p.m. Eastern. Friday night is our night shift with Hargeet and Pharaoh and Doodle and myself, which is a fun show. Tonight we will be live 8 p.m. Eastern, and it'll be Doodle and myself, and we're gonna have to go in on some of this stuff some more. So we're definitely gonna have a fun show tonight. So definitely come check it out, man. And outside of that, yeah, just if you do check out our channel, look out for more content coming from Summer Games Fest and the Mix and IGN Live. We still have a lot of hands-on and interviews and things like that for interesting games that are coming, man.
Well, I
Outside of
super
that, appreciate you.
appreciate that, brother. I'm looking forward to the more coverage of Summer Games Fest, as well as some of the behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people didn't get a chance to check out. So we look forward to that. Looking forward to tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen. Please check out his content. Him and the missus do a great job of keeping everybody up to date with all of the happenings. And there is still a lot going on that we have not covered here and there because there's just so much news. But that's going to do it for us. A big thank you to all of the super chats, channel member chats, as well as the gifted subs for Double Barrel Gaming. Folks, if you did get a gifted sub by somebody in the chat, please thank that person, because these things do cost actual money. They're not gifted for free. And anybody that wants to join the channel, it is, it does help us out in a big way, especially when it comes to keeping up to date with all the programs and the equipment that we need to run the show. And of course, Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for all of that support. And we are going to close the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad told us when we were kids. And it would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.